What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today, oh god, excuse me, I still have a cold. I am coming in with a follow-up to the probation video I made yesterday, For those of you guys who haven't seen that, I will link that in the description, although you don't necessarily have to watch that to understand what's happening here, because this is more of like a story time as to what happened yesterday when I went to court. I saw a bunch of your guys' comments and tweets and DMs and stuff asking if I got fucked and wondering why I didn't upload yesterday. No, honestly, it's just because I was kind of busy yesterday. But anyways, hope you guys enjoy this video. Drop a like if you do, and let's dive into it. So, I'm gonna start out by saying what the punishment was. I got 12 months probation with random drug testing, and one of the requirements is that I have to get my GED or finish high school, go back to school. So basically, that leaves me, I was already planning on getting my GED, so, I don't really care. They're just giving me a long-ass time to do it, so that's completely irrelevant. But the 12 months of no smoking is shit. But, at the same time, it's going to be pretty lit, and I'll explain why in a minute. So, anyways, here's how it all went down. So, basically, I woke up yesterday morning, it was like 7 a.m., just waking up, bright and early in the morning, looking out your window, seeing the sun, and just knowing that you're about an hour away from having the state and the prosecution shove their big black dildo up your ass. It's just a great feeling. So, I get in the shower, get my shit ready, put on my button-down shirt. I actually wore, I kind of threw it off with the shoes because I didn't want to wear my work shoes, but, they're the only nice ones I have. So I wore some Jordans with, a button-down shirt and, corduroys or whatever. So I just looked, completely out of place. I had these clean-ass, I had the Concord 2s on with, a black button-down shirt, and, I looked fucking ridiculous. I don't know, so anyways, driving to court, completely silent car ride. My dad doesn't say shit to me, the usual, whatever. So, we get to court, finally, go through the little, metal detector thing. The guy who, scans everyone and asks you to empty your pockets, he holds out the bin for me. I don't empty my pockets. I don't hand him anything. He's like, you got nothing in your pockets. I'm like, nope, because I never bring shit when I go to court. I don't bring anything. I don't want them knowing my personal life. You don't get to see my wallet. You don't even get to see what kind of wallet I have. Fuck you, 12. You know what I'm saying? So I don't bring shit. Go through the metal detector. Doesn't go off because I brought a plastic airsoft gun. Nah, I'm just kidding. But went through that shit. That goes through. We go upstairs. The courtroom that I'm supposed to be on is the 3rd floor. This place is fucking massive. The courthouse in the county I was supposed to be in is nuts. It's huge and it's fancy. And they even got a nice little restaurant in it. It's fucking ridiculous, dude. But anyways, so I go up to the 3rd floor, go to the courtroom I'm supposed to be in, and I walk in the doors, and I sit down on this bench. It's right next to the door, and then my dad, motions for me to come with him. So I'm like, that's weird. Why can't I sit here? What's wrong? And I notice who he's walking over to as he's motioning to me. It's my mom. Now, that wouldn't be so weird. That'd be you guys are probably for those of you guys who don't watch my videos very often, maybe you're new to the channel, you're like, so? What's up with that? Well, I haven't spoken to her or seen her since the end of June. We have a non-existent relationship basically at this point. So it was very odd to see her there. I was like, is she here just to throw me off or what? Is she just here to see me get punished so she can laugh her way home? What the fuck is this shit? So I sit a seat away from her. There's an empty seat in between me and her. My dad takes the other seat next to her, but they're at the very end. So there's not a seat to the right of my dad. But I don't know. I didn't care. I was fine with sitting alone. So I was just sitting there, reading a People magazine or some shit that was in the little waiting room, just looking at the clock, waiting for them to call my court case, waiting for them to call me in, and my lawyer still hadn't shown up yet. Now, my court date was supposed to start at 9 o'clock. It was 9:05 at this point, and they had already called the first case, but I wasn't really worried because my lawyer's always late. This guy's just never here on time, but he does the job. He's the man, so I didn't really care. My boy Timmy, let me tell you, he's the fucking dude. His name's Tim, but I call him Timmy because he's my boy, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, finally he walks in 15 minutes late. It's 9:15. We're just sitting there in uncomfortable silence, my parents and I. It's just very weird. He comes in with this little portfolio, and he hands both of my parents and I a copy of this big fat packet. And I didn't know what it was at first because this is my first time actually going to a high-level, serious, felony offense court. But prior to this, or, prior to being sentenced, this is my first time getting sentenced in, a higher-level court. Prior to this, I'd only ever been given a punishment or sentenced in, traffic court, which is very, very different than this. You know what I'm saying? It's, it's way more laid back in traffic court because it's just, a bunch of kids who got caught getting stoned or a bunch of kids who drove too fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really like very, very strict in traffic court. You know, motherfuckers are like talking and shit, all that, but you're not allowed to bring your phones in, so no one's texting. But like, anyways, so finally, lawyer hands me this packet. I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know, I start reading through it. I'm flipping through it. And I realize it's a log of every contact I've ever had with the police. Like, even station adjustments, misdemeanors, tickets. They even had a category called suspicious incidents, which is when the police had contact with me, but no arrests were made or like no punishment was given. Like, they had some incidents where I wasn't even like, I never even like knew the police knew about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, holy fuck, like this dude, this probation officer who typed this packet up, he went nuts because the PO, like, this packet is like a summary of me and my parents and who I am, and then at the end of it is like his recommendation for what he believes the judge should give me as a sentence. And like the judge typically follows that. This is basically, this packet is the product of what I talked about in the last probation video, the whole meeting thing. This is like what came out of that. So I'm flipping through this packet. I'm like, holy fuck, like this is shit I didn't even know about. You know, they had like all these names, shit like that. So then I flip to a part where it starts, oh God, I just like cough, snorted, hiccup. I don't know what that was. Oh God. But anyways, so, you know, finally I flip to the part where it starts talking about like the summaries of like what I did in like the PO interview. And it actually gave a word for word. Well, not a word for word, but it was like pretty on point of like, you know, everything that I said to the PO during my interview and everything that each of my parents said. So I actually got to read everything both of my parents had, my mom and my dad, about me. So like I could confirm all my suspicions and do all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I flipped through my part just to make sure, because like I wanted to read my part first to make sure that he got everything I said right. So like, you know, nothing would get fucked up, or like just to verify that the things that then he wrote about my parents, like my mom and my dad said, would also be accurate. And everything he wrote that I said was spot on. He wrote shit that I didn't even remember saying until I read the packet. I was like, oh yeah, I did bring that up. Like, oh shit. So then I flip to my mom's part, and my mom's part is the next part. It goes mine, then my mom's statement, then my dad's statement. Now, my suspicions were confirmed immediately. Both of my parents just took the whole bucket of beans and dumped it all on this man's desk, and he wrote a tidy little paper out of them, let me tell you. They said everything. I like, in mine, it was talking about how I said like, oh, you know, I've tried alcohol before, but I hate it. Oh, you know, I'm just a good kid. Then I flipped to my mom's, and it's just like, yeah, he gets fucked up every day, doesn't do shit, and has anger problems and mental issues. My parents think I'm fucking insane. I mean, whatever. It's the usual, you know, so I'm like, all right. So she spilled all the beans, and she's literally like naming off drugs that I've done. Like, I'm just reading this. I'm just like, oh fuck. She brought up like when I went to rehab and everything, and she even spewed some bullshit. She said I got kicked out of rehab. That's not what happened. That's not at all what happened. But either way, I didn't even argue it at this point. I was like, I don't even care. Like, it's not even worth my time and energy to argue at this point. So I'm just like, whatever. So I read that part. Then I flip to my dad's part. It's the same thing. Just like, yeah, he's a bad kid who does a bunch of drugs, and they were all shit-talking my friends. That's the thing. That's what frustrates me most about parents, is that they all think that every problem in your life is your friend's fault. Like, they never understand that the kid can make bad choices too. It's always the friends. They always blame it on the friends. So, like, whenever I'm asking to go out and hang out with, like, let's say a girl I'm talking to or, like, a good old buddy of mine, they're like, well, I don't think you can go out with him, Lil Nick. He smokes too much crack. How do you know that, Dad? I got a hunch. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit like that. So I'm like, fuck. So finally, I just flipped past the statements. I've had enough at this point. I'm already pissed off. I'm fed up. I'm tapping my toes to control my frustration. I'm like, damn, this is pissing me off. And I flipped to the recommendation of what the PO said, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters to me. And my heart sinks. Now, I was expecting, like, since this case got reduced to a misdemeanor, you know, I was expecting a little bit of leniency. I was thinking they were going to do me pretty nicely. You know, I was thinking, okay, maybe they'll do me like 3 months probation with drug testing, you know, like 6 months probation, you know, something like that. Just like a decent amount of time, but not something too horrible, something that I can manage. I flipped to that last page. The first bullet point, there's 10 bullet points of recommendations that this guy makes, right? The very first bullet point, 12 months, court supervision with drug tests. 12 months. 1 year. 1 entire year, okay? My heart sank. I hadn't even thought about not smoking for that long. I like, without probation, I could never do that. That's not what I was expecting. I was expecting, like, maybe I'll be off probation in, like, February, soon after I turn 18. No. I get off probation in, like, the end of October 2017, guys. Like, that's fucking nuts. So, for those of you guys watching this video right now, like a year from today, when I get off probation, hopefully my channel is a lot bigger and you guys can say that you're the OGs. I'm like, yeah, I remember when Goblin said that. You know what I'm saying? But then I keep reading his recommendation. He wants me to get the GED. He wants me to, like, he just wrote a bunch of other bullet points that were really shit. And then he wrote one that was like, he wants my case to get transferred to the county that I currently live in, because I committed the crime in a different county than my dad lives in. My dad's who I'm living with right now. So the last bullet point was just like, oh, transfer it to Dickfuck County where Mr. Dickfuck McGee lives, So it was pretty typical stuff. So I was pretty upset by the 12-month probation, but, like, I don't know. I didn't really react because, like, when like bad things happen, it's like it's so shitty that you can't even react. You just sit there completely neutral, just like, well, fuck. That's basically me. Like, that's pretty much how I reacted. So I'm talking to my lawyer. My lawyer's like, are you okay with all these terms? And I was gonna try to fight the drug test thing, but I knew that if I were to try to fight that, the judge would just realize that I still actively use drugs, because there's no other way to, like, there's no other reason to fight that, like, unless you're trying to do drugs, So I was just like, it'd just make me look worse. I just said yes to my lawyer. I was like, yeah, fuck it. These terms are cool. Whatever. So he grabs all the packets. He goes in there. He's like, all right, let me talk to the state real quick. He does it every time. Comes back out, and they call my name, like, immediately after he comes back out. So I go in, lawyers to my right, the state prosecution's to my left, and they've got this probation officer in the far left corner. This woman, thick is an understatement. Very large, very football-like, very, how do I put it? She looks like the librarian from Monsters, Inc. a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like that, just that kind of build, if you know what I'm saying. It's like the librarian from Monsters, Inc. and Jabba just fucked relentlessly, and they had a little, like, librarian the Hut kind of kid. You know what I'm saying? Like some shit like that. So, the judge is, like, saying his shit, doing whatever. I wasn't really paying much attention when he was talking. And finally, like, because he never addresses you. Like, if you have legal representation, the judge will very rarely address you directly. It'll almost always be addressing your lawyer. So, finally he addresses me. He reads off all the terms on the last page. Luckily, he didn't flip through the whole packet. He only flipped through things that the prosecution pointed out. So, like, the prosecution pointed out that, like, oh, Nicholas has made positive changes. He's gotten a job. He, like, went to rehab, things like that. So I was like, damn, good looking, prosecution. Even though you guys are against me and trying to fuck me right now, thanks for looking out. And then they start reading off the negatives. They're like, but the negatives are his friends are a concern. He does a bunch of fucking drugs. And I'm like, God damn it, prosecution. I'm like, what the fuck? So, finally, it gets me my lawyer's turn. My lawyer's like, yeah, yep, he does that. He just kind of agrees with it because there's no point in fighting it. It's like, I agreed to it too. It's like, whatever. It wasn't really all that bad. So finally, the judge reads off all the terms on that last page, the 10 bullet points, and he looks up to me and he's like, are you okay with these? I was caught completely off guard with him asking me because I thought that, like, it would just go through my lawyer, but he asked me directly. Like, he asked my lawyer, he was like, are you okay with these? And the lawyer was like, yeah. And then, or he asked the lawyer if my client was okay, or, like, his client, you know what I'm saying? I just worded that really weird, but, like, he asked my lawyer, he was like, is your client okay with these? And he looks to me, the client, and he's like, are you okay with these? I'm like, yep, whatever, I'm cool with it. So he's flipping through it. He's like, all right, well, these terms are effective immediately. Didn't even take him, like, any thinking. He was like, as soon as I agreed, he was just like, okay, these terms are effective immediately. We will have another court hearing on December 5th to transfer the case to the next county. Like I was mentioning earlier, how they need to transfer it to another county, the one I currently live in. Now, I don't even have to be there for that. So basically, the next time I go back to court is when this ends, aka October 2017. And I also got 30 hours community service, which, like, I don't really count because that's not shit. Like, a year to do 30 hours, like, dude, that's less than 3 hours a month. I could literally just go do, like, a 2-hour volunteering thing, like, once a month and be done with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit like that. So that was completely irrelevant. I didn't even count that. But after that, I was just like, all right, walked out of the courtroom. The probation lady came out with me and basically explained to me how the case is going to be transferred to the next county, all that stuff. My parents are just kind of standing there listening. Lawyer shook my hand. I shook him good. I was like, good looking, my boy Timmy. Because, I mean, without him, considering the fact that even with a lawyer and all the like proper legal representation and fighting that I did, I still got 12 months probation. I couldn't even imagine what I would have gotten if I had just taken the felony and not fought it. You know what I'm saying? Like that would have been pretty fucked. So either way, hope you guys enjoyed this little story / like, I don't know, follow-up video. Drop a like if you guys did. If you guys have any similar experiences on probation or any advice, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.